Do we have individual from Mandarin Asian Bistro here? No? Yes? Oh, okay, good. Just wanted to make sure before we proceeded. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Could we all please rise? We'll begin the meeting with our prayer. Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city, to make it a better place to live and work. Amen. We all please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, could you kindly call the roll?
Councilor Samaras. Here. Councilor Belanger.
Here.
Mayor Elliott.
Here.
Councilor Kennedy.
Here.
Councilor Leahy.
Here.
Councilor Martin.
Here.
Councilor Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milanazzo.
Here.
Councilor Rourke.
Here.
That's 9 present.
Present, the first order of the business. Under the mayor's business, we'd like to recognize a new business here in the city. If I could have Mr. Zhu come to the microphone. Mr. Yu Zhu? You're first on the agenda, sir? First of all, welcome to Lowell City Hall and welcome to the council chamber and the city council meeting. We thank you for coming, but more importantly, we want to thank you for making Lowell your home for your new business. And on behalf of the entire city, we'd like to offer you a citation recognizing you as a new business in the city. And if I could, I'd just like to read it to you, and then we'd ask you to make a couple of comments if you would like. This is a citation, be it hereby known to all that the City of Lowell in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we hereby welcome Mandarin Asian Bistro and its owner, Yu Zhu, as a new business to make its home at 24 Market Street. With a unique and pleasant atmosphere, this new addition to the city offers delicious meals prepared by experienced and dedicated chefs. The restaurant has a great selection and friendly ambiance. The Asian cuisine offered by Mandarin Asian Bistro adds to the heritage and community of Lowell with an extensive menu of authentic appetizers, entrees, and wines. There is truly something for everyone. With a friendly staff and an owner with more than 20 years of restaurant experience, we know that the Mandarin Asian Bistro will be a successful business for years to come. The entire city of Lowell extends its deepest wishes to Mandarin Asian Bistro for opening a fine dining restaurant in downtown Lowell's historic district, given on this 31st day of March, 2015, by myself, Rodney M. Elliott, Mayor of the City of Lowell, along with all of my colleagues in the City Council. Thank you, and we congratulate you.
No, I'm not very good at it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. I don't blame you. With that, we'll proceed to the minutes. Under the city clerk portion of the agenda, we have minutes from the city council meeting of March 24th. We also have minutes from the Arts and Culture Subcommittee on March 24th as well. Entertain a motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion passes. The next section of the agenda is public hearing, but it's not 7 o'clock. We'll move on to communications from the city manager. We have motion responses. We have motion response A, B, and C. Questions, discussion on motion responses? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve. We did this last week, so this time we're making sure there's no question. Motion to approve by Council Martin, second by Council Leahy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. The motion responses are accepted and placed on file. Moving on the agenda, we have votes from the city manager. We have a vote. We have a license agreement for Top Donut use of the parking lot. It's not very extensive, so I'll read it. Authorizing the city manager enter into a license agreement with Top Donut, Inc. to use the portion of the city-owned parking lot behind the restaurant at 700 Aiken Street in the city of Lowell for parking for patrons and employees of Top Donut and for no other use. Be it hereby voted by the City Council of Lowell as follows. The city manager is authorized to enter into a license agreement with Top Donut, Inc., having its principal offices at 123 Lawrence Street, Lawrence, Essex County, Massachusetts, 01841, to use a portion of the City of Lowell property, said premises located at 700 Aiken Street in the City of Lowell, for a period commencing January 1st, 2015 through January 1st, 2018. Said license shall be predicated upon adequate insurance coverage, for which coverage shall be enforced so long as said encroachment continues under this license. Said license shall contain such conditions as the city manager shall deem to be in the best interest of the city of Lowell. Said license shall be in accordance with form, substantially the form attached thereto. Entertain a motion. What is the wish of the body? Council Samaras?
Question for the city manager. How many parking spaces will that be for that area?
Mr. Manager?
If you could just hold on 1 second, we'll get the total amount.
It's actually a license agreement for the square footage. I think it's 14 that they can legally fit on the lot, but it varies a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions on this item? Council Mercia?
Move approval.
Move approval of Council Mercia, seconded by Council O'Rourke. Roll call.
Council Samaras.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Martin.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Milonazo.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
9 yeas.
That's the next motion on the agenda. We have a vote for sidewalk seating and license agreement for Mandarin Asian Bistro, 24 Market Street. Entertain a motion to waive the full reading of this. It's pretty lengthy. By Council Milonazo, excuse me, second by Councilor Rourke. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Second reading by title. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, City of Lowell, and City Council is a vote authorizing the city manager to execute a license agreement between the City of Lowell and Lucky Lantern Incorporated, doing business as Mandarin Asian Bistro, for use of a portion of city property adjacent to the premises at 24 Market Street for the purpose of sidewalk seating. Motion to approve by Councilor Samaras, seconded by Council Belanger. Further discussion on this item? Seeing none, roll call.
Council Samaras.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Martin.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Milonazo.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
That's 9 yeas.
Next item on the agenda, we have another vote for a sidewalk license agreement for Bishop's Legacy Restaurant at 143 Market Street. Again, entertain a motion to waive the full reading by Council Kennedy, seconded by Council Leahy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed? Motion carries. Second reading by title in Commonwealth of Massachusetts, City of Lowell, and City Council is a vote authorizing the city manager to execute a license agreement between the City of Lowell, City, and Bishop's Restaurant, Inc., doing business as Bishop's Legacy Restaurant, for use of a portion of city property adjacent to the premises at 143 Merrimack Street, Lowell, for the purpose of sidewalk seating. Question, Council? Move approval by Councilor Rourke, second by Councilor Martin. All those in favor? Excuse me, roll call.
Council Samaras.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Martin.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Milonazo.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
9 yeas.
9 yeas. Moving on, there was another vote from the city manager Authorize the city manager to request minor plan change to the acre plan, including Lord Overpass project. Entertain a motion to waive the full reading of this vote by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion passes. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, City of Lowell, and City Council is a vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the City of Lowell to request approval for the following plan change to the Acre Urban Revitalization and Development Plan from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Belanger?
Thank you. We have officials here from Planning and Development. I wonder if we can get a brief description of these changes, if we could.
Mr. Manager?
Craig Thomas from the Department of Planning and Development would be able to address these.
Thank you, Manager. Actually, Councilor Belanger, this is the improvement project that we presented at a previous subcommittee that's come before the council previously. It's the Lord Overpass project. The reason to include it in the acre plan is that a small section, the realignment of Fletcher Street and the creation of a four-way signal to improve access to Fletcher Street, falls within the acre plan. So we want to make this very minor plan change to let our partners at the state know, who gave us the $15 million to do the project, that this impacts both the jam plan in the Hamilton Canal District, as well as access and transportation improvements in the acre plan. It doesn't change the boundaries, doesn't change the intent of the plan, doesn't change any other actions. We're simply confirming for the state, who gave us the money, that yes, in fact, this both impacts the jam plan and the acre plan.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions for Mr. Thomas? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve by Councilor Milonazo, seconded by Councilor O'Rourke. Roll call.
Councilor Samaras.
Yes.
Councilor Belanger.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Rourke.
Yes.
That's 9 yeas.
The motion passes. Next section of the agenda, we have orders from the city manager. We have an order for a 60-day trial, various requests. Entertain a motion to waive the full reading on these handicap parking spots at 6th Street, C Street, and 4th Street. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Martin. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. Second reading by title. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, City of Lowell, and City Council is of order pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, concerning Section 266-6 thereof, entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations. Temporary traffic regulations are hereby implemented for a period of 60 days. Questions? Motion to approve by Councilor Leahy, second by Councilor Mercia. Roll call.
Councilor Samaras.
Yes.
Councilor Belanger.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Rourke.
Yes.
That's 9 yeas.
9 yeas. Moving on. Still under orders from the city manager, we have an order to discontinue a portion of Eaton Street. This is the first reading. We'll send it to a public hearing. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, City of Lowell, and City Councils in order to vacate, discontinue, and abandon certain public interest rights and easements in a portion of Eaton Street in the City of Lowell, Massachusetts. Motion to refer this to a public hearing, what do we get, April 14th at 7 p.m. Motion by Councilor Samaras, second by Councilor Rourke. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. Motion carries. This will go to public hearing on the 14th. It's still not 7 o'clock, so we will move, we will hold off on the public hearing. And, pardon me? Yeah, we'll go to subcommittee reports. 7-1, neighborhood subcommittee reports. Chair would like to recommend Chairman of the Subcommittee, Neighborhood Subcommittee, Council Leahy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tonight at 5:30, we have the Neighborhood Subcommittee meeting, along with myself, Council Mercia, Council Samaras. Also in attendance, we had City Manager Murphy, Council Belanger, Councilor Rourke, Department Heads Diane Trad, Mike Damaris, Dave Ouellette, Chief Taylor was also here, Eric Slagle, Traffic Engineer Nicholas Bosante, I probably got that wrong, Lisa DeMeo, and Jim Troop. We had a good discussion throughout the city, different neighborhoods, various issues which have come up, especially pertaining to the placards. So what we discussed is we're gonna take a look at the placards, take a look at the ordinance, try to have somebody get out into the neighborhoods, take a look at the expired placards, and I think at this time, what we usually do is we put a void sticker on them. Discussion about maybe we could have a new sticker made, which explains that the red placards are void. Please contact the parking office if you need to replace it, but it must be taken down within a certain amount of days, maybe 30 days. So we talked about that. We talked about the enforcement in the neighborhood for parking, especially for oversized trucks, vehicles that are coming into the neighborhoods and parked over the weekends and overnight. We had a discussion about out-of-state license plates. Certain neighborhoods, if you notice that you might have cars registered out of state that are in your neighborhood, you can call up the police department. Procedure would be that they keep an eye on them for about 30 days before some sort of citation is written to try to stop that. We also talked about certain neighborhoods, like over in Pawtuckettville. We talked on University Ave, if there's any extra, we had a discussion about trying to make extra parking spots. A few streets that we did discuss, Gardner and Gershom, and actually University Ave, the streets were measured. We do have to make sure that the streets are still safe for safety apparatus to get through. So we had discussion about could we or could we not add extra parking on one side or both sides of the street. So we had discussion about that. And generally we had about 6 speakers. We just talked about general issues in the neighborhoods that are nagging at residents. We fully understand that each neighborhood has its own unique set of circumstances that it must deal with. So we had, we will continue this. Mr. Troop and, let's see, Mr. Ouellette and the new parking engineer, we will get together. We'll come up with some recommendations. We did ask the chief, and, you know, I know that they do continue to enforce the neighborhoods, but, you know, we'll just take a look and make sure that we are enforcing our ordinances throughout the neighborhood. So it was a good discussion for about an hour, and we're gonna take a look at various problems and try to see if we can come up with solutions. We know that they're not easy ones. We understand that the department heads are doing the best jobs that they can. Neighbors just want to be heard. We want to make sure that we're addressing their needs. So if my colleagues have anything further to add?
Yes.
Sure. Council Mercer. I won't run the meeting from you.
All set? Mr. Lee? Anyone else to speak? Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The most important issue that was raised during this subcommittee meeting involved a father that got up to that podium and spoke about a buffer restricted area around a school. Namely, this was the McAvenue School on Mammoth Road, and I know the area well, and the his wife was sitting here as well, and she parked on on Fourth Avenue, which is not immediately around the school, but it was across the street from the school, and she got a $25 ticket because she was a conscientious parent, a conscientious taxpayer, and went into the school to see what the situation was with her child and got out to find a $25 ticket. I think it's absurd, it's uncalled for, so I would like to refer that portion of this subcommittee meeting to the solicitor, Eric Slagle, to see if we might add an addendum to the ordinance about restricted parking, and probably get Eric Slagle as well involved, being in the neighborhood services, inspectional services area, to look at this ordinance again so that we could probably add an addendum which would probably exempt during school hours. This is restricting this mother from volunteering for that specific reason. We tell people to be good citizens, to be good parents, and then we reward them by giving them tickets because that particular neighborhood has a restriction for parking and only neighbors can park there. Well, aren't they a neighbor? They probably don't live in that immediate area. They probably live up the street somewhere where there's no restricted parking. These are the things that we see. These are the things that we want to correct, and I'm referring that portion to you, Madam Solicitor. This is a wrong that we're trying to right, and that's my issue right here. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Council Mercy, Councilor Rourke, and then Councilor Samaras.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With regards to the meetings, another part where the new traffic engineer had stated distances between vehicles on Gershom Ave and Gardner Street, that really didn't make sense to me. So, if, Mr. Manager, if you could take a look at that area again, as far as parking, the idea was brought up of maybe parking on both sides of the one-way streets. And again, I think the number was 7 feet, which I know is not a fact. So if they could look at it again and see if it's possible, maybe for some additional parking spots, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Council Samaras.
Thank you, Mayor Elliott. One thing, having attended many of the meetings that the neighborhoods are having, we have found that parking in the inner city neighborhoods is quite difficult, and there's really no easy answer. But an answer has to be developed that's acceptable to most. And I think what we saw with the different city department heads, they had good ideas and a willingness to try to make this work. As I pointed out, in some of the neighborhoods, I think our first priority should be safety, making sure that our ambulance and fire trucks can get through. But second, the issue of finding some general approach that would be accepted by most, I think is worth working towards. And it's not an easy solution, but we do have to find a solution that is constant and is something that works well with people. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Samaras. Further questions, discussion on the subcommittee report? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve by Council Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Belanger. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Whoops, Council Mercia.
Mr. Mayor, I made a motion. Did I get a second for that to go to the,
We'll get you, of course, in a
Solicitor?
second. I made a
Thank
mistake on that one, sorry.
because I'm serious, that's a motion.
Yeah, no, I agree. A motion by Councilor Mercia, seconded by, by Councilor Milonazo, to request an opinion from the solicitor relative to the ticketing around McAvenue School area or in general.
Well, during school hours,
During
I don't
school
think,
hours.
I think that restriction should be eliminated so that parents can, I'm not saying around the entire school, but they should be able to park within the neighborhood
Right.
to go find out about their child, so that's,
Okay.
let's
All-
look at that.
All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. We'll go back to the accept the report as a report of progress by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Belanger. Councilor Leahy?
Sure, just one more comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just, it is accepted, but we are gonna take a look at the ordinance for the placard. We're gonna take a look at the ordinance for parking around schools during school hours to make sure that people can visit the schools and park and make sure that they can get in and out of the schools without ticketing. So, we will come back with with updates on this. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. And the opposed? Motion passes. It is now 7 o'clock. We will move into public hearing that has been advertised. There's ordinance amending Chapter 56 entitled Personnel. An ordinance amending the City Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, with respect to Chapter 56 entitled Personnel. Now I'll entertain a motion to those, to open the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. Those wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance change, those wishing to speak in favor. Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Entertain a motion. I'd now like to open up this portion of the hearing for anyone wishing to speak in opposition. Is there anyone in opposition? In opposition, seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed as well. What is the wish of the body?
Move approval.
Move approval by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Samaras. Discussion? Councilor Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the manager, one of the provisions is biweekly payroll. And I know we discussed weeks ago that just about all departments were on board beside the school department. So are we going forward with that provision, Mr. Manager? Where do we sit there?
Mr. Manager?
As it states in the ordinance, is right now the school department won't agree to go to biweekly payment, so it doesn't, from an efficiency standpoint, it doesn't make sense to go to biweekly unless we do everybody. So this ordinance states is once we get all of the unions to agree to biweekly, then we'll implement it, but we can't at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Leahy?
Thank you. Just following up on that comment, through you to the manager, did they seem willing to cooperate with this, or, like, I know we gotta negotiate it, but what's the reality of it? I mean, it really needs to happen.
No, not at all.
So, this could be, it's gonna be, save us some money.
Correct.
So,
We'll continue to ask for it, but at this point in time, we've gotten a resounding no to our proposal.
okay, thank you.
Councilor Milonazo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me congratulate the administration by having that in this, the language relative to the payroll, and I certainly hope that the school department will come around. My question has to do with the personal leave, and we're, as a result of this vote, be giving the employees an additional day, not personal day, the day after Thanksgiving. Does that mean City Hall will be closed the day after Thanksgiving, or will there be a skeleton crew on?
It will be closed. We closed it the day after Thanksgiving, this past Thanksgiving, and I plan to close
Right,
it
I knew that.
also.
I just didn't know
Yeah.
going forward if
Yes.
we were going to do that. Okay,
Yes, we will.
thank you.
Further discussion? If I could indulge my colleagues, I just wanted to make one comment relative to sick leave. I also want to congratulate the manager. There are some provisions in here that will, in the long run, assist the city, and it's really a budget issue, particularly sick time will be capped, and as well as there was new employees, there will be no buyback provision as well, and I think that is a very positive step, knowing that, across the city as well as on the school side, upwards of $1 million a year, I think on each side, it's that's a significant step that we needed to take to put a cap on this, and it's a benefit again that is that we needed to address. We understand the purpose of it in the past to prevent the abuse of sick leave, but I think that has outlived its purpose, and moving in this direction is a good thing. So thank you for the indulgence from my colleagues. Further questions, comments, discussion on this? Roll call.
Councilor Samaras.
Yes.
Councilor Belanger.
Yes.
Mayor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Rourke.
Yes.
That's 9 yeas.
Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda. Oops. We have under petitions, we have, first item is for claims. We have 5 property claims. Motion to refer this to the Law Department for a report and recommendation by Council Leahy, seconded by Council Martin. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed? Motion passes. We'll send that to the Law Department. Next item, we have a miscellaneous petition. Rosiel Collin requests 1 handicap parking sign installed at 68 Liberty Street. Entertain a motion to refer to the traffic engineer for report and recommendation by Council Mercia, seconded by Council Malinazzo. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed? Motion passes. Next item of the evening, we have a miscellaneous petition. Corey Robinson, President of Local 1705, requests permission to address council regarding collective bargaining agreement. Chair, I'd like to recognize the city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, an issue has arisen between Local 1705 and the city relative to qualifying for overtime pay. Local 1705, through Mr. Robertson, filed a grievance relative to this issue last Wednesday. Last Thursday, representatives of 1705, along with their attorney and my administration and the city solicitor, met to see if we could resolve this matter. The 2 lawyers agreed to exchange information and discuss this matter further in hopes of resolving it. The time hasn't expired for that to happen. We're still hoping to resolve this matter, but I'm going to be honest with you, it's a subject of a grievance that's pending right now, and I think any public discussions of a pending grievance right now is premature and out of order, and I think we should allow the administration and the representatives of 1705 to negotiate this matter the way all grievances are done. And I'm just asking that we be allowed to negotiate this in the proper course and not at a public hearing.
For discussion, Madam Solicitor, anything else?
No, I would concur with what the manager was explaining. This is a matter of a grievance, and the parties have already put considerable effort into attempting to resolve the issue, and those efforts are scheduled to continue tomorrow afternoon between myself and the union's attorney. And also, as the manager had indicated, the bargaining agreement specifically lays out what the process is for filing a grievance, and how that grievance then proceeds along the course of that process. And as the manager indicated, this is not part of that process, and as such is not an appropriate forum.
Okay, knowing that, there is a grievance that is filed.
That's correct.
So the parties are meeting, exchanging information, so this will be ongoing litigation, if you will.
The grievance under it, yes. I came here to speak similar. It doesn't involve any of the details of the grievance or any of that stuff, what I came to speak tonight for.
Well, it's, okay, could you be specific? Because if it's relative to this grievance, then this body should not entertain it.
I agree. And I basically came here tonight to speak, I represent 1705. Last Tuesday, we were brought in here, congratulated, thanked, recognized for the hard work, dedication we did over the winter. 2 days later, my employees are what we feel is being stabbed in the back over an issue that arose.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Your petition is, if I may read it, I'm looking to speak on 33115 in regards to the impact of local 1705 employees relevant to the city's new interpretation of our collective bargaining agreement and overtime. So with all due respect, it is relative to what you're grieving. So I think the parties should be allowed to meet and hopefully be able to resolve this.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Motion to delay this. We'll just delay it? There's pending litigation, and the parties are meeting, so if there's... Pardon me? Excuse me, are you registered to speak? Okay, thank you. Motion to delay this until the parties have met again. And the parties are meeting tomorrow?
That's, again,
You don't know?
I'm not meeting tomorrow.
Excuse me, sir, excuse me. You don't know when the parties are registered to speak? but
I'm not scheduled to meet tomorrow. I don't know.
This body is all about free speech and having an opportunity to speak and express their opinion. I speak for my colleagues on this, that we completely embrace this. But when there's pending litigation, both sides should be continued to meet the way that the collective bargaining is set out and the intent of that. That is all. I mean, if the parties can't come to a resolution, then that perhaps is the more appropriate time. But you don't want to jeopardize your position, and the city doesn't want to jeopardize ours, knowing that there is an agreement in place. That's why there are agreements. So I just want to make that clear. No one's trying to shut anybody down. You're entitled to speak. But if there was no grievance filed, then it's a matter of opinion. But there is, it's illegal. It's being litigated. That's all. So please, no, we did bring you in last week, and we congratulate you, and we continue to. But there's an agreement in place. There's a bargaining agreement, and we want to live up to our agreement as well. So can you just explain it? There's a meeting when? Just for, the union members don't even know. When is the next meeting?
When the parties met, and Mr. Robinson was there as well, along with representatives of the union, there was the follow-up to the meeting was an exchange of documents and information, and then there would also be a further follow-up between the attorneys. So that did in fact happen, as indicated at last Thursday's meeting. The follow-up discussion on this very issue is scheduled for 2 o'clock tomorrow with myself and the attorney representing the local.
Okay. Thank you. So motion to delay until the parties meet, and we can come back, and I'm sure there'll be the exchange of information, and hopefully things will be resolved. Motion by Councilor Milanazzo, seconded by Councilor Rourke. All those in favor signify by saying aye. And the opposed, motion carries. There's a meeting tomorrow.
Okay,
And
thank you.
then we'll take it to the next step.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
Okay, moving on to the next section of the agenda, we have council motions. There's a motion by Councilor Mercia, request city manager explore the possibility of upgrading the traffic lights to allow a left turn signal on French Street from Bridge Street. Second by Councilor Martin. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The motion speaks for itself, but I'd just like to add that if anybody has traveled in that area, it's almost impossible with the oncoming traffic to ever take a left. I'm bringing this motion forward at the request of a group of teachers and a former colleague who happens to be working at the Lowell High School, and it's very hard to get there. So I don't know if it's ever possible, but if we could ask is it the state or, I don't know, but a left turn signal would be fine to give a break to those people taking a left going to the high school. That, I know how hard that is. So if we could just look into seeing if it would be possible. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Makes some sense. Further discussion on that motion? Councilor Milanazzo.
I just want to say it makes all kinds of sense now that we put a right arrow off of Merrimack Street onto Bridge Street to keep the school traffic moving. It does make perfect sense to have a left arrow onto French Street. So if it could be done, it'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Further discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. Next motion of the evening by Councilor Belanger and Councilor Samaras. Request city manager convene a meeting with UMass Lowell officials to discuss the procedure for seeking corporate sponsorship for school buildings. Gentlemen, who's going first? Council Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, we all know that we received great news last week from the Mass School Building Authority that gave us the nod, if you will, to go on to the next phase on new high school, which is great news. We'll soon be entering a feasibility study. Hopefully, that's pending a vote by this council, but we are moving right along, so to speak, and we're all very excited. But we'd like to, first, for starters, I'd like to thank the solicitor for last week's motion response. She did a tremendous job, her and her department, as to the legality, if you will, about sponsorships for school buildings. And we now know that it is legal in the Commonwealth. It's been done. There's many examples nationwide that this is kind of a growing trend, if you will, where I believe the statistics were $2.5 to $3 billion has been raised through corporate sponsors to help subsidize school buildings throughout the country. So that's good news. It seems to be where the things are trending. So with that being said, you know, the intent of the motion I made weeks ago was just to help defray the cost of the Lowell's taxpayers' portion of the new high school. If we get that far, we're looking at approximately $50 to $60 million. And as we know, it's going to come along with the tax increase on or about an average of $100 per household. You know, I'm just looking to help the taxpayer with assistance with that portion. That's all I'm looking to do, and sponsorships can be done in a tasteful manner and be appropriate. So that's basically the gist of this motion, Mr. Mayor, and I'm proudly co-sponsoring this motion with a former headmaster of the high school who not only feels this is appropriate, but more than worthwhile to investigate. So with that being said, I think that goes a long way. So that's all I have to say, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council Belanger. Council Smash on the motion.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Elliott. The motion made by Council Belanger to seek funds in today's age has merit. But this is something that we just can't hope happens. When the high school scholarship fund was established, many people said that's a nice idea, and we got a pat on the back, but no one really expected it to really happen. And what we have now is $4 million in endowment funds that are there forever for our students. So what we're simply requesting, Mr. Manager, is that you meet with the Chancellor and his staff that seek the funding for the university and talk about the process that they use to seek those funds. So we're just not talking about a building, but we're talking about programs. And I think there are people out there, not sometimes, we have the usual suspects of the people that have money that might contribute, but there are people who care for the sciences, the arts, gymnastics, whatever, that we could possibly seek out to donate to the development of this high school. So the thing is, I'd just like to see and perhaps we can do it through the Subcommittee on Education at first, to bring Chancellor Meehan's people in that do seek funding. I mean, he's got at least 5 or 6 buildings where people donated $5 million to each building to see it happen. I'm not saying that we can do that, but I think it's worth trying at this particular point. So thank you.
Thank you, Council. Further discussion on this motion? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve by, we already had a motion and seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. While the chief is still here, I'd like to entertain a motion to suspend the rules by Council Mercia, seconded by Council Milonazo, and the purpose, and if Council Mercia and Council Belanger and myself attended a meeting yesterday morning at Lowell General Hospital, and some important information and requests, quite frankly, came through as a result of that meeting. So Chair, I'd like to recognize Council Mercia.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's true. That was a very worthwhile and informative meeting. Some time ago, when the detoxification center at Tewksbury Hospital was closed, and not only did State Representative Tom Golden bring forth money through the legislature as well to open that facility again. But the beds were increased from 24 beds to 32 beds, and it put 50 people back to work and gave them their position back again. 16 full-time people on top of that were brought back to work. But the purpose of that task force, which I like to call the think tank, to try to combat the spread of the opiate disease that's plaguing our cities and ruining families and creating havoc. But at that meeting as well was Terry Downs from Middlesex Community College, and he had a proposal brought forth, and he shared it. I have it at home. I didn't realize to bring it in with me this evening, but he is proposing to increase the beds there from 32 and add another 32 beds on top of it, which we so desperately need. I know the Chief Taylor was there as well, and he proposed that along with some more measures. I think we should bring that in and form a resolution. It would only help to reinforce his proposal. I think it's crucial to the area. How sad it is for people that are begging to be helped, to be taken off the drug, only to be told, there's no beds, I'm sorry. So that in itself is discouraging enough to go back out and start doing your drugs all over again. So anything that we can do to increase the beds and then address the need and try to help people to get off it. We can talk all day, but to do nothing but talk, this Terry Downs has a proposal in front of the task force that I believe each and every one of us, and I will get a copy to all my colleagues, bring it in next week so that they can see how important this is. So if you want to add to that, and Corey, that's the gist of the motion here.
Yeah, I agree. A motion is to have the solicitor prepare a resolution to bring into this council to support. It was a request from Terry Downs, who's at the Tewksbury State Hospital, asking for support, particularly from this community, knowing how involved we are with this opiate, the Middlesex District Attorney, this opiate drug task force, which is essentially identifying the problems with heroin and overdosing. So, Chief, thank you for staying with that. This was a group of state representatives, public safety officials, public health officials, hospital officials.
Judge Brennan was there.
And Judge Brennan, I think the importance of this, which is exactly what Council Mercier just referred to, is the drug court that has been extraordinarily successful in Lowell and the district court. And part of that is the treatment, but there are clearly not enough beds. There's only 32 beds in a 60-mile radius serving this area. At the minimum, they're looking to support to double it. They have the space to do that. With that, Councilor Belanger is there. Can we hear from the chief and then Councilor Belanger as well?
Yes.
So with that, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilor Mercier is absolutely correct, and I would wholeheartedly endorse the council going on record supporting this. Terry Downs was there in his capacity as on the board of directors for Tewksbury State Hospital, and he indicated that with relatively short money, they could double the treatment facility there for detoxification from 32 to 64. That's a critical need in this city. Every day, on average, the emergency services in this city respond to 2 opiate-related overdoses in this city. Many of them require the use of Narcan, nasal Narcan, to revive these people, but they need follow-up care and treatment to try and see if we can get them on the road to being a productive member of society again. And the detox in Tewksbury is absolutely a critical component of that. So we run into cases all the time, as has been reported, that my offices and other people in the community are looking for detox beds for people, and they're quite candidly not there, they're full. So I certainly would wholeheartedly endorse this, and I told Terry that anything I can do professionally or personally to support that, I think would be great.
Right. Thank you, Councilman Chief. And I think the significance of this is that the officers, the police officers, they're saving these individuals. They're bringing them to the hospital. After a certain amount of stay, an 8-hour stay, they're going back in the street.
That's
Because there's no place for them to go, which is just really compounding the problem. So we appreciate you coming and identifying it. And it's not just this. It's enforcement. It's getting the drugs off the street. It's this comprehensive approach.
Absolutely.
It's going to take some time educating the problems with pills, and because that's the first,
That's right.
entry that leads to heroin. Council Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to echo Councilor Mercy's comments. It was a very, very informative meeting, and you can see from the individuals at that table that we're getting a handle on this situation. We got a long, long way to go. Don't get me wrong, but I think for so many years prior to it, the system was broken. But now we're really getting a good handle on it, with such as the drug court, which is an 18-month program for addicts where it has over 95% recovery rate, where it's a very, very successful rate. They are making great strides there. And as you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, the fact that there's only 32 beds in a 60-mile radius is grossly inadequate. And, we here in the city, we're going to do our part here in the city of Lowell, but we cannot continue to service the region on this issue. We have our own constituents to care of. So I think the message is out there that to the suburbs, they're raising a blind eye on this and realizing that it's their problem as well. It's city, it's town, it's rich, and it's poor. So it's good to see Tewksbury Hospitals taking that initiative through Terry Downs, doubling the amount of beds there. As the Chief alluded to, they sometimes just have to arrest an individual for an overdose. They have no choice. There's no beds for them to go. So what we are going to try and do, I am putting together a subcommittee meeting on the overdoses. I have outreach to the Lieutenant Governor and Governor's office to get some individuals from there and give an outcry about the lack of beds in the situation is not helping, is the big problem here. So there are strength in numbers. I've been reaching out to other gateway cities and neighboring towns to get their voice involved too, to let them know that this issue needs funding, we need more beds. And so we're going forward on this. Again, long way to go, but it was a very good meeting once again. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Council. And the timeliness of this is they're just entering the budget development stage, so this needs to be put into the state budget. So that was a little bit of the urgency behind bringing this forward this evening. Further discussion on having the solicitor develop a resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye, and the opposed, motion carries. Anything on before the council tonight? Seeing none, that concludes the agenda. Entertain a motion to adjourn by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Samaras. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed. That motion carries. This meeting stands adjourned.